Will Osprey is the new Iwgp World Heavyweight Champion, and we talk about the upcoming shows for New Japan and what direction this company is headed in. We talk a little bit about AEW Dynamite this week, and then we get into Wrestlemania Weekend. I go briefly into what are my 10 favorite Wrestlemania matches, the Wrestlemania schedule for this week as far as WWE goes, previewing the 2 independent wrestling shows I'll be attending, as well as a grand preview for NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver Night 1 happening this Wednesday and Night 2 happening on Thursday, and finally a grand preview match card prediction for WrestleMania 37 Night 1 and Night 2 happening this Saturday and Sunday. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the 41st edition of the Chill Spill Podcast. The S is silent, by the way. Yo, what is going on, guys? It is your boy Tyler Mask, aka Tyler Suplex, aka Suplex with 2 O's, SOOPLEX. Also, shout out to the new Twitch username, Suplex, SOOPLEXX. That's 2 X's on Twitch, 1 X on TikTok, but always 2 O's for both. And your boy Tyler Kuhn Williams, also known as the one who lived, and welcome back to the 41st edition of the Chill Spill Podcast, and that is Spill spelled with an S, but it's silent, much like the stadium was, well, I should say the Performance Center was last year for WrestleMania 36, a no crowd WrestleMania show we had last year, and now 1 year later for WrestleMania 37, we're going to be seeing upwards of 25,000 fans every day for WrestleMania. Hard to believe. We're still in a pandemic, by the way. Just a reminder for all you guys out there. But guys, this is the 41st episode of the Chill Spill Podcast. I'm really excited for this episode. This is my big preview episode. There was some news to cover. I'm going to hold off on some of that till next week. There wasn't really that much news to talk about, aside from New Japan Pro Wrestling, but this is really going to be talking about WrestleMania Weekend, what's going on, so this may be a shorter podcast. I say that every single time. This might be one of the shortest podcast episodes, then it's like fucking an hour and a half, so let me not even say that. I'm going to jinx myself. But guys, thank you all for tuning back. We're at episode number 41. This coming weekend, just a heads up for all of you who do not know, I will indeed be in the city of Tampa for at least 1 day of WrestleMania Weekend. I will be in Tampa on Friday. I will be attending 2 shows, GCW Acid Cup 3 and GCW's rSpring Break, which is basically Joey Janela's Spring Break 5. I'll be attending both those shows. Now, remember this. I did in fact say I will not be attending WrestleMania due to the size capacity, and well, I'm not excited for the match card. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why are you attending an independent wrestling show? Well, here's the thing. You remember back when I said I would more than likely attend these wrestling shows when I get vaccinated? Well, I'm anti-vaccinated now. Now, that doesn't mean I'm immune to COVID. I can still get COVID. But, do your research on why, COVID vaccine helps out. I'm vaccinated, so that kind of makes me worry less about going to these shows. On top of that, I will be wearing a mask while I'm in Florida. I know in some parts of Florida you are not required to wear a mask, but I will be wearing a mask. I will be social distancing, and I will be sanitizing my hands at all times. So, taking precautions while I go to these shows. I will be attending 2 shows, and then on Saturday, I'll be flying out to Miami. I will be in Miami for all of WrestleMania Weekend. I will not be going to WrestleMania 37. I will be watching WrestleMania while I'm in Miami. I've been looking online to see if there's any little bars to attend. I'll be showing WrestleMania. So far, it looks like there's none. Like Miami's like, yeah, no, fuck, we don't associate wrestling. We only did it for 1 year in 28, and that's it. But was WrestleMania in Miami in 20? I think WrestleMania was in Miami in 20. Hold on, WrestleMania 20. I'm pretty sure it was in Miami. 28. Yeah, they're like, yeah, we did it for 1 WrestleMania, but that's it. Anyway, so yeah, I'll be in Miami for both nights of WrestleMania. Right now, I don't plan to live stream for either night because I'm going to be on vacation. Now, what I can say is that I may. Now, this is a big maybe. This may be an experiment. But I may do a live stream on TikTok, live reacting to like the main event of one of those nights. But that'll be like an experiment. If I do end up doing that, I'll let you guys know so that way you can, go over to TikTok and watch your boy over there. If anything comes up and I decide I will be live streaming WrestleMania, you guys will be the first to know about it. I don't know if I'm taking my equipment with me, so if I do live stream, it might be from my phone, which will be a bad idea because I don't know how good the Wi-Fi connection is going to be over there, but we shall see. We shall see. But yeah, I'll be in Miami from Saturday to Sunday, and then once Monday comes, I'll be flying out to Orlando. Now, I originally was planning to go to NXT because I've never been to Full Sail, and even though I don't like NXT now, I did at one point truly love NXT. I at one point was like gang ho, watched it every week. I lived and breathed NXT for like a solid 3 years at one point in time. And it's like, at that point in time, Full Sail was like, I would love to go to Full Sail one day. Like, that's one of my bucket list places in wrestling, was to go to Full Sail and attend an NXT live event. Now, once COVID hit, they kind of did away with that. And then they did the whole, Capitol Wrestling Arena Center, whatever they call it, thing. And there's fans there, and I'm like, okay, well, if there's fans there, maybe I could buy a ticket. Go online, can't buy a ticket. I'm like, okay. So I asked my friend who, he goes to Full Sail. He knows people down there. I'm like, oh, what's up? And he's like, well, you got to be part. It's like, you got to be part of, like, basically, you got to know somebody who knows somebody, and you got to be part of a clique, and you got to do this, and I'm like, it ain't even worth it. So I'm probably not going to NXT. So I'll be probably going to Universal Studios on Tuesday. So I'm excited for Universal because I've never been there before. But yeah, I'll be in Florida for the duration of the weekend. So if you guys do, I say this all the time. If you guys do see me, I don't know if you're at WrestleMania Weekend, if you see me, say hi. I won't bite. I won't be angry. I'm not of A-list celebrity status. You won't get tackled by security. Say hi. I swear I'm nice. Sometimes. Anyway, that all out the way, let's talk a little bit about New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I already did a video on it yesterday, so it's not really anything new. But Sakura Genesis 2021 did see some results. One of those results being that Yo made his return, and that was at New Japan Cup Finals about a few weeks ago. He made his return on this show in the ring, teaming up with Sho as part of Roppongi 3K. Roppongi 3K. They teamed up to face off against Yoshinobu Kanemaru and the Junior Heavyweight Champion El Desperado for their respective Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, where Roppongi 3K won the titles. They are now, I think, 4 or 5-time Tag Team Champions now. I'm happy for them. I kind of wish they wouldn't have won it because here's the thing about Roppongi 3K. I think they're both extremely talented, especially Sho. Sho's my favorite. But I think they're both supremely talented. And they can have really good singles runs on their own. And Sho had his opportunity when Yo was injured. Now, it sucks that I say that, well, Yo was injured, so now give Sho a run. But Sho had his opportunity, and it didn't do anything with him. Like, yeah, I know. They had him do, like, a few matches with Shingo. Then they had him do the BOSJ, which he didn't win. Then he did a little championship match with Hiromu like a few months ago. But outside of that, they didn't really do anything with Sho in this period of time where they could have done something with him. So I'm a little bit mad about that. Now Yo's back, and they thrust those two right back into the tag division. Like, really? Really? Like, you can't even give Yo a little singles run. Like, okay, here's the thing. I'll talk about that in a bit. Let me hold off on that. Talk about that in a bit. But they won the tag team championships. And then on top of that, we had the reveal of who is the newest member of United Empire, that being Toa Henare. Toa Hanare's been with New Japan Pro Wrestling for about 4 years now. 2017, I believe, is when he I think he may have joined New Japan earlier, but then came back from Excursion in like late 2017. Ever since I started watching New Japan, Toa Hanare has been in New Japan. Put it that way. He's been with New Japan since I started watching in January 2018. But since I started watching, Toa Hanare has been like bottom of the barrel booking. Like, he was never he was a young lion at one point, don't get it twisted. But he wasn't a young lion when I started watching. But in the 3 years I've been watching him, he never wins anything. Like, he wins some matches, yes, but he never wins anything big. He never makes a foreign tournament. If anything, he may not even score a point in a round robin or make it to past the, opening round in a single elimination tournament. He's taking the pins and they don't really book this guy like you should care about him. So for the longest time, I sometimes forget Toa Hanare's even on the goddamn roster. So when they're talking about, who's going to be Mr. Opponent, I never even thought about Toa Hanare being the partner because I forgot Toa Hanare existed for a minute. But I was thinking Shota Umino, I was thinking Carl Fredericks, but then he comes out and it's Toa Hanare under the new name Aaron Hanare, which this is not uncommon to New Japan to repackage talent and give them new names. So he had some new gear. He looked cool. He looked like what's the word? He looked like a I don't want to say a mob boss, but he looked like the underling or like the understudy of a mob boss. Like, not quite the leader, but like the not quite the regional manager, but the assistant regional manager. Oh, correction. Assistant to the regional manager. Oh, my Office fans will be happy about that one. But he looks like he's right beneath. Right beneath. I thought his debut match as Aaron Hanare was, pretty cool. They actually made him look strong in this match, so that's good. He got the win in the match. I believe he pinned Sonata in the match, so, he got a good win in there. Pinning Sonata is not too big of a deal because Sonata hasn't really won shit aside from Tag Team Championship Gold. But, pinning Sonata, that's a good thing. They got him on the right track. I'm looking forward to what goes on with Aaron Hanare. Here's the thing now. We have 4 men in the faction, which is good now. You have Will Osprey, Jeff Cobb, Aaron Hanare, and the Great O'Khan. So 4 guys, and here's the thing about that. These 4 guys are heavyweights. Aaron Hanare, to my knowledge, is not a junior. Not that I think he's ever looked like one or been built like one, but he's not a junior. So, like most of the factions in New Japan, Bullet Club is a junior faction. Junior tag team. They have Taiji Ishimori and, what's the other guy's name? What's the other junior's name? Ooh, it's in my head. That's not good. Whatever. So, Taiji Ishimori and whatever other guy's name is. I feel so disrespectful right now. Then you have, Suzuki-gun is El Desperado and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. Chaos is Roppongi 3K. What's the other faction? LIJ is Hiromu and Bushi. Hiromu's injured, so it's really just Bushi. But each faction has a junior tag. They still don't have a junior tag for United Empire just yet. I don't know who that would be because it's like someone would have to turn. Or, you could do like, a debuting junior. Now, my thing is, you have Master Wato, who debuted in New Japan under his Master Wato gimmick last year. And he doesn't associate with a faction. He's technically Taguchi Japan. He's technically, Sekigun, whatever you want to call that. So if they wanted to turn him heel and associate him with United Empire, they could do that just to get a junior on their side. Who the other junior would be, I have no idea. I have no clue. A lot of people are guessing it would be Yo, but then Yo is now Tag Team Champion with Show, so would it make sense to do that? Maybe then you do Shota coming back, but I don't think Shota's a junior. So, Ren Narita, but Ren Narita's doing the thing in America. So, I don't know where they're going to go with the junior division in United Empire. Once they have a junior in the faction, then they're set. Like, what? They have 4 now. 4 is a good number because you have one guy to win the tags. Now, that could be Aaron and O'Khan, or that could be Aaron and Jeff Cobb. Or it could be Jeff Cobb and O'Khan. Then you have one guy who can win the Never. And then one guy who can win the heavyweight. So your faction is set with 4, but obviously with these factions, they go 5 and above, and you need a junior, so we'll figure that out in a bit. We'll figure that out at a later date. I want you guys to comment down below if you guys can pick one junior heavyweight to join United Empire. Who would it be? Now, it doesn't have to be New Japan. It could be a free agent in Japan. It could be a free agent in America. Who would you guys have be the junior for United Empire? Comment down below, let your boy know. But in the main event, a Sakura Genesis was Will Osprey versus Kota Ibushi. Will Osprey did defeat Ibushi to become the new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. I did a video on it. I don't want to talk about it too much here. But what I will say is that it is something different. It is something fresh to see Will Osprey as the champion. So that much, I gotta say, I like. It is something fresh and different. The question is, where does New Japan head now that they're doing something fresh and different? You can easily mess this up because they did that last year with Evil. We have a bit of a landscape of what's going on with New Japan right now, as they did reveal their Road to Dantaku tour, the Wrestling Satsumi no Kuni tour, and the Wrestling Dantaku Prime tour. And then a match at Wrestle Grand Slam. So here's the upcoming cards for those shows. The most important matches, I should say. On the Road to Dantaku tour, we have Tomoichi, Hiroki Goto, and Yoshihashi versus Kenta, Yujiro Takahashi, and Taiji Ishimori for the Never Six-Man Tag Team Championships. Okay, that should be that's alright. That's alright. Then we have an iteration of those three, members facing off against three members of the other team. You have Kenta and Yoshihashi, Hiroki Goto versus Taiji Ishimori, and Ishii versus Yujiro Takahashi. We have Tetsuya Naito versus the Great Okan. They have a rematch. This is all a Road to Dantaku tour. Not all happening on the same night, but this is the nights leading up to the premiere tour. And then Sonata versus Aaron Henare. So Aaron is getting his first singles match against Sonata. I would like to believe he should win that match. Sonata's take another L here. I don't know what... Sonata's so weird. The booking of Sonata is so weird. Sonata is like Naito, but worse. It's like New Japan knows the fans like him. I'm not the fans that like him, but they know the fans like him. And I know that they want the fans to get behind Sonata. So the way they book him is that we'll give you Sonata. We'll give you matches that you want to see with Sonata. And he'll win some of those matches. But the majority of them he'll lose. Oh, in the championship matches, he's going to lose those too. Like, Sonata, how can anybody get behind Sonata? He literally loses, all of his important matches. He'll win the ones that don't really matter as much. He might even go a little bit further in the tournament. But then when it comes down to, the grand finale, he always loses. As somebody who doesn't care for Sonata, haha, he, whatever. But as somebody on the, taking a step back and just looking at why should I get invested in Sonata's character, it's like the dude doesn't give me a reason to even want to like him. So that's why sometimes I can't even try to get invested in Sonata's character. He doesn't win shit. So I'm pretty sure he's going to lose his match to Aaron Henare. But that's the Road to the Dantaku tour. Wrestling Satsumi no Kuni is one of their tours leading up to Wrestling Dantaku. It's like a mini show. If Wrestling Dantaku's the B show, this is a C show. Not quite a Road to show, but something in between. So we have night one of Wrestling no Kuni. We have Evil versus Toriano. Yep, just going to let that one ride for a bit. It's going to let you guys think about where Evil was last year versus where he is now. All right. We have Roppongi 3K, Yo and Sho, defending the Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships against El Desperado and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. Not even a full month later, we're getting a rematch. Oh, great. Oh, glory. We have, on night two, Tetsuya Naito and Shingo Takagi versus Will Osprey and the Great Okan. They have a mini feud with the Great Okan and Tetsuya Naito kicking off here. I don't remember their first match being all that great, but alright. And then the main event will be Kota Ibushi and Hiroshi Tanahashi, the Golden Aces, versus Jeff Cobb and Aaron Henare. That should be really good. Looking forward to that. Especially because Tanahashi and Toa Henare have always had this weird, I don't want to say weird, but I like this mentor-student type of relationship. Where when you think back to previous tag team tournaments, and even more so tag team matches, just regular tag team matches, whenever Tanahashi is in a tag team match, more often than not, Toa Henare is there too. and they're kind of like linked up, and Hanari gets the pin. But now they're on opposite sides. See, like, this right here is something so little, but like, I'm intrigued by that. I would probably tune in just to see Hanari and Tanahashi face off. As much as I love Ibushi and I love Jeff Cobb, I just want to see Tanahashi and Hanari. Like, I want to see them in a singles match. Give me that. Give me that at Wrestling Dontaku, but they don't got the balls to do that. They don't got the balls to do that. Speaking of Dontaku, let's talk about Wrestling Dontaku. Night 1, we have Zack Sabre Jr. versus Tonga Loa. Singles match. We have Tama Tonga versus Lord Taichi. In a ladder match. Intriguing enough. A ladder match for Izuka's glove. New Japan is doing comedy here. Alright. And then the main event night 1 is Jay White versus Hiroshi Tanahashi for the Never Openweight Championship. I love the build to this match. The last show they had, Hiroshi Tanahashi, he loses the match, but then he goes after Jay White, or Jay White goes after him, and Tanahashi kind of counters that. And Jay White's been taunting Tanahashi for like the longest time. Like the past few weeks, taunting Tanahashi, trying to get him to challenge for the Never Championship. And Tanahashi kind of denies this. Tanahashi's scared of Jay White for some reason. But Jay White does something really clever, and this is why I love Jay White. So Jay White gets down and gets like basically locked in Tanahashi's cloverleaf. And Jay White taps out. Now, I don't remember Jay White tapping out very often, if ever. But Jay White taps out to Tanahashi. Now, after he taps to Tanahashi, Tanahashi then accepts Jay White's challenge for the Never Openweight Championship. And as Tanahashi's leaving the ring, you can see Jay White start to laugh and smirk. And I'm like, oh, so Jay White purposely tapped out so he can coax Tanahashi into giving him a championship match. Like, this is why Jay White's such a sleazy but smart heel. Like, he literally coaxed Tanahashi into giving him a championship match. Now, I don't know why Tanahashi was so scared to give him a match. Maybe he's intimidated by Jay White's abs. I guess that's the story there, comedy-wise. But I just love the way it's being set up here. They're going to have a good match like they always have. I'm excited for it just because of how we got into this match. Then Wrestling Dontaku Night 2. We have El Desperado versus Yo for the Junior Heavyweight Championship. And this is why I get back into the whole Yo and Sho having a singles run. Yo is having a Junior Heavyweight Championship. Now, I don't know if this is his first time contending for the Junior Heavyweight Championship. I'm going to say it probably is. But let's just imagine here. Let's just imagine that Yo wins this match, right? He wins this match. Now he's the double champion. Well, where'd he go with Sho? Sho can easily still team up with Yo. Or you could have Despy and Kanemaru win the titles back at Wrestling No Kuni. And then Yo wins the championship from El Despy. And then Yo is the singles champion. And maybe Sho challenges Yo for it. We finally get a Yo and Sho match for the champion. I don't know. I feel like we could get Yo and Sho running singles still. Because Yo's back and he has new gear. Why not give him a singles run? Sho just had one. Give Yo one. But knowing New Japan, they'll keep them in this tag limbo forever. Because that's just how they work. And then the main event of Wrestling Dontaku Night 2 will be Will Osprey defending the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Shingo Takagi. This comes after Shingo Takagi interrupted Will Osprey after winning the championship. Now before this, Will Osprey challenged Okada for the championship. And Shingo interrupted him and said, I beat Okada, I should challenge first. And Will Osprey basically accepted both men's challenge. So that's how we got to point B. I don't see Shingo winning this match. Would it be lovely to say that Shingo Takagi is the ace of the company? He's the world champion of the company? Absolutely. Shingo is definitely worthy of being in that moniker. But with Will Ospreay just winning the championship, I think it's very unlikely for Shingo to be the guy to beat him, especially in his first defense. Now, I say this, but New Japan in the last 2 years has proven that they don't really care about your first defense. You can still lose your title. So I shouldn't even be saying that. But they're building Will Osprey up. They've been building him up for like the last 2 years. I don't see him being bred to lose to Shingo. But then that leads us into Wrestle Grand Slam in the Tokyo Dome, happening in May. Like late May. They're having a show in the Tokyo Dome in May. Now, the main event of that show, as of right now, is Will Osprey versus Kazuchika Okada for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Now, if Shingo were to win at Dontaku Night 1, it'll be Shingo versus Okada. But as of right now, it's Osprey versus Okada. A rematch from Wrestle Kingdom this year. Now, I firmly believe they're doing this so that way they can be like, oh, well, Osprey versus Okada are the first men in the last such and such years to have 2 matches in the Tokyo Dome in the same calendar year. Here's what I feel like could possibly happen. Possibly. I could possibly see Will Osprey retaining against Shingo, going to Wrestle Grand Slam, then retaining against Okada. We get to G1 Climax. Okada wins the G1. And then we get Okada versus Osprey for the 3rd time at a 3rd Tokyo Dome in a calendar year. I feel like there is a very good chance New Japan wants to tell that story of doing 3 Osprey Okada matches at the Tokyo Dome 3 times in a single year. And then that's where they probably have Okada win the title back. That's what I think could happen. Now, do I want it to happen? Not really. But I feel like that is a very much a possibility that I want to float here just in case they decide they want to go with it. Just so that I can be like, I predicted this back in April. But that is the landscape of New Japan as of right now. Let's go a little bit into AEW Dynamite. Last week wasn't the most eventful episode of Dynamite. We did have a few key things happen on the show. We had the Inner Circle and Pinnacle having a backstage brawl. That was a really fun backstage brawl. That had the moment where Chris Jericho sent MJF into a vending machine. Not before saying the iconic lines, "The worst is yet to come," which I marked out for because that was straight out of his feud with Shawn Michaels back in 2008. One of my favorite feuds of all time. On that show, we also have the return of Trent and Chris Statlander in the main event of the show, where Miro and Kip Sabian went up against Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor in an arcade anarchy match. The match itself wasn't bad. I actually enjoyed it more than I thought it would. But Trent and Chris Statlander returning was awesome. The end of the show was really good. It was a fun, like, 90s sitcom type end of the show where the babyfaces stand tall with Trent's mom in the background. It was like a very, like, heartwarming end to the show. But the show itself wasn't anything special. But let's talk about Dynamite this week. Now, I put up a poll on the community page, which I think may be my most voted on poll, like, ever. Possibly. 205 votes. I asked, what do you guys want to see me watch? As this is the last week that AEW Dynamite and NXT are running on the same nights. Do you guys want to see me live stream Dynamite or NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver? 205 votes. 45% say Takeover Stand and Deliver. 55% say AEW Dynamite. Now, I'll be honest. I expected Dynamite to win, but I didn't expect it to be that close. I didn't expect a lot of you to actually want me to do a a Takeover live stream. Now, I shouldn't say that, but an NXT live stream. Because whenever I do NXT live streams, they don't do well. Definitely not as well as the AEW ones do. But you guys definitely wanted to see me do that. So here's what I will do. I will do a review of NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver Night 1, which will go up on Thursday. Probably Thursday afternoon. Which will go early up for my YouTube members. That'll be going up a day early. Probably on Friday for a lot of you YouTube viewers. And then a Takeover Stand and Deliver Night 2 review. Likely on the episode of the Chill Spell Podcast number 42. If not, that'll go up earlier as a YouTube member. You guys can subscribe to the YouTube membership program. The little join button next to the subscribe button. Look at the tiers. Look at the tiers. But this week on Dynamite, we have Jon Moxley and the Young Bucks going up against Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers. That will likely be the main event of the evening. I'm going to say Moxley and the Young Bucks win. We have Hangman Page versus Max Caster. That should be good. Hangman Page probably wins that match. The Bunny versus Tay Conti. Like, okay. Tay Conti wins. I only say okay because the Bunny's in. I don't like the Bunny. Darby Allin versus JD Drake. I don't even know who JD Drake is, but this is for the TNT Championship. And then Jurassic Express versus Bear Country. And they're kind of building it up like, Godzilla versus Kong, which I did watch last week. Was a good movie. I think Bear Country wins this. I can for some reason see them getting behind Bear Country and maybe pushing them for a tag title match coming very soon. Maybe not as early as Double or Nothing, but in the near future. And that's Dynamite this week. Now let's get into the WrestleMania portion of the podcast. Before we talk about WrestleMania Weekend, I want to briefly go through my 10 favorite WrestleMania matches. Now, disclaimer. I'm not ranking these matches because I didn't really want to rank them because if I want to do a video in the future, I can rank them then. But I wanted to give you guys my 10 favorite WrestleMania matches I've seen over the last few years. I have not seen every single WrestleMania in existence. One of these days, I'll do a grand, it's too late, but one of these days, I want to do like a grand tour where I run through and watch every WrestleMania leading into the latest one. Maybe I'll do it this year, but I'll have to start 37 weeks early, so I don't know exactly when that will have to start. But I'll have to start it this year, or maybe later next year. I'm not too sure. But here are my 10 favorite WrestleMania matches. Not going too in-depth in it, but Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, both WrestleManias, WrestleMania 25 and 26. Will go down as one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. So that's definitely in there. Undertaker versus Triple H, WrestleMania 28 is another one. I wanted to put 27 on here because for a long time, I actually really adored 27. A little bit more than I adored Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker at 26. But I left it off because I had to put another match in here. I wanted to keep it at 10, not 11. Daniel Bryan versus Triple H at WrestleMania 30. This is one of the most underrated matches, of all time. I don't know why people sleep on this match so much, but, go watch Daniel Bryan versus Triple H over again. In my opinion, to this day, that is still one of the best WrestleMania matches ever. And I don't know why people sleep on it. Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 35. I loved that match. It was very technically paced. Very greatly sound, and just here's the thing why I probably love that match so much. I think it was the atmosphere. So when I watched that match, I wasn't at WrestleMania. I was in New York, but I wasn't at WrestleMania. I was in a bar, right? I was in there. I was sitting at a table with a bunch of other wrestling fans, and then the table over was a table with just black male wrestling fans. Now, when Kofi Kingston came out, fun story time. When Kofi Kingston came out, everybody in the bar got hype. White, black, Middle Eastern, Asian, whatever. Everybody got hype. Everybody was team Kofi Kingston. And I went over to the black table and I said, guys, we need to say a prayer. And I swear to God, we said a prayer. We had a prayer circle for Kofi Kingston to win. And the moment when Kofi Kingston won, they all just head me over and we all were just jumping wickedly. Literally all the black people in the entire bar were just super, super hyped. Everybody was. But it was a special moment if you were black for that moment when it happened. Because just oh my God. It was a special moment. The atmosphere, all the people always around. I feel like that's part of the reason why I love that match so much. It always comes into account your setting when you're watching matches. But for me, I love the match. So that's definitely in there. The Rock versus Stone Cold, WrestleMania 17. It's the setting for me once again. When I first saw the match, I was maybe 13. I might have been younger than 13. I might have been 11 or 10. I remember because I had this WWE home video set, and I was in my grandparents' room. And mind you, back in the day, my grandparents were huge wrestling fans. My grandmother's favorite wrestler is The Rock. Grandfather's is Stone Cold. And I don't think they ever seen this match. So I turned it on, and we watched it. It was my grandparents and some of my cousins were all in the room. And I remember we were just literally we were vibing. We were so hyped for all the spots happening, all the kickouts, just everything. And I watched the match back a few years ago and I loved it. But like that, it's a certain atmosphere and setting when you watch these matches that greatly affect how you view it in the future. So for that matter, I got to put that match on there. Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle, WrestleMania 21. Another match that was just so great. I don't want to say underrated because a lot of people do mention it as one of the greatest WrestleMania matches. But just another great match. Hardy Boys versus the Dudleys versus Edge and Christian. Triangle ladder match, WrestleMania 17. Believe it or not, I have never seen WrestleMania 17 in its entirety. Now, I've seen matches for WrestleMania 17, but I've never seen the entire show. This is regarded as one of the greatest, if not the greatest WrestleMania of all time, and I've never seen it. I'm making my mission to watch it. I promise. Charlotte versus Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch, WrestleMania 26. I thought this was one of the, if not the best women's match in WrestleMania history. These women put on a clinic. I love that match so much. It made the top 10. Now, if I watch more WrestleMania matches, it might get bumped off, but I had to put it on there. And then lastly, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 31. As much as I hated Roman Reigns at the time, I can't deny they had a kick-ass match at WrestleMania 31. Now, every match after that one, I can't speak for, but the first match they had really rocked. The Seth Rollins cash-in added on to that as well. But those are my 10 favorite WrestleMania matches. Let's now dive deep into WrestleMania this coming weekend. We have a big schedule for Peacock that I want to go through real quickly. We don't want to talk. I'm not going to talk about Monday because that happened already. Today, Tuesday, April 6th, as you're listening to this, we have the making of WWE Jason Robinson. I don't even know what that is. The best of WWE, best of WrestleMania in the 2000s, and the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony is happening tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I probably will not be watching it live, but when Kane comes on, I'll watch it. Wednesday, April the 7th, we have The Bump. We have the best of WrestleMania in the 2010s, and then NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver premiering at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I will likely not be tuning in for that live, but I will definitely be watching that probably on Thursday and then getting a review out for it later that day. Thursday, April the 8th, will be NXT UK Prelude. Not a takeover, but just a semi-big show. Walter's defending his championship. The UK Women's Division, they're having a good tag team match in there. It's a show you might want to check out. I might check it out myself. Then we have NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver Night 2 happening on Peacock only at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. For Friday, April the 9th, we have WrestleMania Smackdown. The WrestleMania edition of SmackDown, I should say. They have like this Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal happening on that show. They have like Tag Team Turmoil or something happening on that show as well. It should be interesting. Saturday, April the 10th, Evolve 8, ICW Fight Club 167, WXW We Love Wrestling number 6. It is ridiculous to think that all these independent wrestling shows happen on the WWE Network now, but that's where we're at. We have the WWE Chronicle Edge, Talking Smack, WWE's The Bump. The kickoff show to WrestleMania 37 will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, I don't expect any matches to be on the kickoff, which is why it's probably 1 hour long. And then WrestleMania 37 Night 1 will be premiering at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, this is a 2-night event. I better not be up until fucking midnight watching this show. I'm going to not watch Night 2. I swear to God. I'll preview the card a little bit later on, but it better not be a 4-hour show. It better be 3. It better be 3.5 at the latest. Then Sunday, we have Stone Cold Steve Austin's Broken Skull Sessions with none other than AEW wrestler Chris Jericho. I am super amped. Probably more amped than WrestleMania itself. But I'm looking forward to that. Fans lost their minds. Even I lost my mind when I heard that happen. I'll be covering that when it happens. That probably will be Sunday morning, I assume. The Bump will be premiering on that as well. Do people watch The Bump? I have never watched an episode of The Bump, but apparently it's a very newsworthy show sometimes. WrestleMania 37 night 2, kickoff at 7, then premieres at 8. Once again, it better not go until midnight. It just better be a 3.5 hour show. That's all I know. And I don't care if it's Monday Night Raw length. It's WrestleMania. 2 nights. Let's take a second real quick. How long was WrestleMania 36? Both nights. If I'm correct, both nights of WrestleMania were 3 to 3.5 hours. Let's take a little peek real quick. Just a little trip down memory lane. Oh yeah, on Peacock they don't really show you how long the shows were. You gotta actually click on them just to see. That's so dumb. And it goes by seasons too. I hate that even more. Open a new tab. Open a tab. So WrestleMania 36 night 2 was 3 hours and 19 minutes. WrestleMania 36 night 1 was 2 hours and 52 minutes. So if WrestleMania last year, both nights were only 3 hours, then this show should not be exceeding 3.5 hours for both nights. That's how I feel about that. But you guys sign off, comment down below what you guys think about that. But that is the WrestleMania week card. That is the WrestleMania week schedule. Before we get into previews for Takeover, Stand and Deliver, and WrestleMania Weekend, I wanted to briefly look over the match card for the two shows I'm attending WrestleMania Weekend. GCW Acid Cup Tournament 3 and GCW rSpring Break. Acid Cup 3 will be a single elimination tournament happening on Friday the 9th. Well, it starts on Thursday and then it ends on Friday the 9th. So this is the card for Thursday. We have AJ Gray versus Nate Webb, Aries versus Arimus, Calvin Takeman versus Kobe Carino, Dragon Bane versus KTB, Jordan Oliver versus Edith Surreal, Tony Deppen versus Cole Radrick, Laredo Kid versus Braden Lee, and Lee Moriarty versus Treehouse Lee. Now, I'm attending night 2 of this event, so I'm not going to be seeing this live, but I'll be watching this on Fight TV. I'm most excited for Tony Deppen versus Cole Radrick and Lee Moriarty versus Treehouse Lee. But listen, any card that has AJ Gray, Calvin Takeman, Aries, Jordan Oliver, Tony Deppen, Loretta, it's a stacked card nonetheless. So I'm excited for whatever we get on night 2. Then Joey Janela Spring Break 5, or rSpring Break as they're calling it. We have Billy Starks versus Starboy Charlie. I'm actually really excited for this match. Both of these two are actually 17 years old. Child labor laws don't apply in Florida. But they're 17, and they're two of the most talented wrestlers right now. Better yet, I think Starboy Charlie just turned 18. But Billy Starks, I believe, is 17 years old. They're both really supremely young. Whole careers ahead of them. But they're going to kill it. I'm excited. It's intergender match. Billy is a female. Starboy is a boy. I can't wait. I think I'm excited for this match. Probably the most out of the entire card. We have Aries, Black Taurus, and Gringo Loco versus Arimas, Dragon Bane, and Laredo Kid. That's basically a luchador match. That's going to be spotty goodness. Can't wait for it. Whenever I enter an independent wrestling show, I always open my mind. I know sometimes I'm very nitpicky, but I always open my mind up to everything. Gregory Iron versus Effie. Not familiar with Gregory Iron, but I am familiar with Effie, so I'm excited for that. Masada versus Atticus Cougar. Leo Rush versus Jordan Oliver. That should be really fun. Rich Swann versus Lee Moriarty. That's going to be fun as well. Chris Dickinson versus Joey Janela. And then the main event of the evening, Ricky Shane Page versus Nick Gage for the GCW Championship. This is likely going to be a death match, so I'm prepared to cover my eyes. And now, finally, let's get into NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver. 2-night event premiering tomorrow on USA Network and Peacock, and then Thursday on Peacock only. Let's go through this card. Night 1. We start off with Pete Dunne versus Kushida. That's going to be really good, really technical. I'm going to go with Pete Dunne to win since he's the heel. And, I think his faction still needs to, look pretty strong. I think they just got stripped because one of the guys got injured. So maybe he's singles again. I'm not too sure, but I'm going to go with Pete Dunne. Kushida lost already. He doesn't need to keep winning. He's all right. I wouldn't bury him necessarily, but, he can afford a loss now. He can afford a loss. We have a Gauntlet Eliminator match where the winner will challenge the NXT North American Champion Johnny Gargano on night 2. In this match, we have Leon Ruff, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Bronson Reed, Cameron Grimes, Dexter Lumis, and LA Knight, all confirmed in this match. Leon Ruff has faced Johnny already. They had a mini feud like 2 takeovers ago. Isaiah Swerve Scott and Johnny Gargano already faced off. Bronson Reed and Johnny have already faced off. Not that I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Bronson Reed versus Johnny again. I'm not opposed to seeing any of these guys versus Johnny again. But I'm looking down this card and I'm like, these guys already faced Johnny. Cameron Grimes, pretty sure he faced Johnny already. Dexter Lumis faced Johnny. I think he feuded with Johnny already. The only guy in this match that I feel like probably does and should win is LA Knight. He's the new guy. I think it's LA Knight. Then we have a triple threat tag team match for the vacant NXT Tag Team Championships since Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan were stripped, since one of the guys were injured. We have MSK, Wes Lee, and Nash Carter versus the Grizzled Young Veterans, Zach Gibson and James Drake, versus Legado del Fantasma, Raul Mendoza, and Joaquin Wilde. Here's the thing I'm confused about. MSK versus GYV was the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, where MSK won. By this logic, shouldn't MSK just be like awarded the championships, or like, you know, in a match that doesn't involve GYV? Like, I don't see why GYV even belongs in this match where they weren't even winning the tag tournament. It just feels like the finals of the tag tournament again with another faction inserted. I don't know. I don't really like the fact that this match is laid out that way, but I think MSK should be winning. However, GYV has been like, they've been on and off pushed by NXT from what I've seen. I feel like if there were any time for them to put the titles on these guys, it's probably now. So I'll go with Zach Gibson and James Drake to win the NXT Tag Team Championships. And then MSK will probably chase for it a little bit more. We also have the NXT UK Championship defended as Volta goes up against Tommaso Ciampa. Now, mind you, one night earlier, Volta's defending his championship against Rampage Brown. So maybe Rampage Brown is going to challenge Ciampa. Not a chance. Volta versus Ciampa has been the match we've been building up, so if Rampage Brown is not winning, that's going to be a really good match. Probably even great match. Ciampa hasn't really been doing too much since his feud with what's his name? Timothy Thatcher ended. But now he's kind of going to a feud with Volta, who's been holding his championship for 2 years now. 2 calendar years as of yesterday. So he's definitely due for a loss. He's definitely due for a title loss. However, the UK championship belongs on NXT UK. And if Ciampa isn't going to the UK to defend the championship, I don't see why Ciampa would win. On top of that, the UK championship, let's not say it should be exclusive only to UK wrestlers. But if they want to keep the trend, I would keep it on Volta. Now, who does Volta drop it to? I literally have no clue at this point. Maybe you should drop it to Ciampa. Change things up a bit. But I think Volta's retaining. I wouldn't be mad if he loses it, though. Then the NXT Women's Championship is on the line as Io Shirai defends against Raquel Gonzalez. Raquel's been treated like a beast the last few months on NXT television. I can completely see Raquel winning this match. Io Shirai's been champion for about almost a calendar year as well. She's due for a loss. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going for Raquel to win this match. Raquel Gonzalez will win the NXT Women's Championship from Io Shirai. Now, here's the very, very weird thing. Because Dakota Kai was always kind of built up and seen as, like, you know, one of NXT's, you know, one of their women, one of their top women. But they started pushing Raquel, and Dakota kind of fell behind. Like, she's, you know, Dakota still comes out, and people know Dakota's with Raquel. Raquel's technically with Dakota. But Raquel gets all the prime spots. She gets the pins. And Dakota's now falling into a spot where, you know, Raquel has to carry her sometimes. It's kind of weird because it's like Dakota's falling behind. Now, my question is there a story there? Will they tell the story of Raquel winning the championship, Dakota gets jealous? Or maybe Raquel thinks she's too good for Dakota, and then she kicks her to the curb. Now, that's a story that I will watch NXT for. NXT is officially moving to Tuesday nights starting next Tuesday. This is the time for NXT to start, get back on their A game. They've lost track ever since they moved to 2 hours. Now they have a night to focus on just their action. They're not kind of programming. Then they don't have to press anybody. Now, I'm not saying slack the fuck off because they've been doing that for the last year, in my opinion. But this is the time where they got to get their shit back together. Because now that they're on one night and there's no direct competition, they have a chance to get more audience. But now that it's on a night where fans aren't used to, they also have an opportunity to get less of an audience. So they got to be very, very careful here. Very careful with how they book going forward. I'm hoping that this is a sign that we're getting some new feuds going forward. I'll be doing a video very soon on NXT. Very, very soon. But Tuesday's NXT, I'll be watching the first night. NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver Night 2 will be happening Thursday on Peacock only. On this show, we will be having the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships defended as Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon defend their championships against Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. I pegged Candice and Indy to win the championships in the tournament. Will win the tournament initially, and they lost to Shotzi and Ember. So I can see Candice and Indy winning here. I think it may be actually interesting to have them win, but I think Shotzi and Ember retain. We have Johnny Gargano defending the NXT North American Championship against the winner of the Gauntlet Eliminator. I don't see anybody beating Johnny for this title. If it's LA Knight, possibly. If it's anybody else, possibly. But I think Johnny's going to retain. Johnny retains. We have a ladder match to determine who was the real, undisputed NXT Cruiserweight Champion. Jordan Devlin versus Santos Escobar. Both men have been separately NXT Cruiserweight Champions. Jordan Devlin in the UK, Santos in America. Pandemic fucked it up, but we're now back to a stage where we can crown one definitive champion. Who should it be? I think that Santos Escobar, he's been doing very good with his faction. Jordan Devlin really just came back recently with all the allegations of the speaking out movement. I don't even know why he's even still a champion. It should be going to Santos Escobar, in my opinion. I would go Escobar. We have an unsanctioned match between Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. A very heated rivalry between these two men. Who wins? Kyle O'Reilly should be winning. I feel like it should be Kyle O'Reilly. Adam Cole really doesn't need to win this match. He doesn't have to. He's been the NXT champion. He's been the leader. He's been basically one of the top guys in NXT for years now. He's ready to go to the main roster at any point in time. Now, will that be the end of his career? Probably. But he's ready to go whenever it's time. Kyle O'Reilly, I don't think should go to the main roster. If this is the end, and I'm sure it is, the end of the Undisputed Era, Kyle O'Reilly is a dead duck if he goes to Raw or SmackDown. So Kyle O'Reilly should win, and Kyle O'Reilly should start going after the Cruiserweight or the North American Championship. Adam Cole loses, he can go Raw or SmackDown. I'm almost certain that management thinks highly of Adam Cole. How highly, I don't know, but they've been treating him right for years now. Now, I say this, and Adam Cole go to the main roster and still be treated like shit. But if any of these two guys, I think, have a better chance of surviving on Raw or SmackDown, it's Adam Cole. So I would say Kyle O'Reilly wins this match. Adam Cole probably goes to the main roster. Or actually, scratch that, Raw or SmackDown. I'm not calling it the main roster anymore. And then the main event of Night 2 will be Finn Balor defending the NXT Championship against Karrion Kross. If you guys remember, Karrion Kross defeated Keith Lee to become the NXT Champion, but he got injured during that match and had to relinquish the championship the week after. So Karrion Kross never got a proper reign as the champion. So for that matter alone, I think Karrion Kross should be winning the championship back. And we'll get a proper reign out of him. So I'll go Karrion Kross to win the NXT Championship from Finn Balor. And that all being said, let's now finally head into WrestleMania 37. Night 1 will be happening on Saturday, April the 10th. And here is the match card. We have 7 matches set for this show. We have a tag team tournament match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Not gonna lie, I totally did not write down who's in this match. We have 5 teams set. We have the team of Naomi and Lana, the team of Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose, the team of Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan. I almost forgot her name. We have Natalya and Tamina, and Carmella and Billie Kay. I am going to say, I don't care, but I'm going to say that Lana and Naomi wins this match. From what I've seen clips of on Raw, they've been doing their thing. They've been getting some wins. I think it's probably them winning. If it's not them, maybe Tamina and Natalya, but I think it's Naomi and Lana winning it. We also have Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. Just a regular singles match. It should be fun. It should be great. I'm going to go with Seth Rollins to win because it's Cesaro and WWE doesn't like Cesaro. We have a steel cage match between Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon. This has been probably the most childish and least interesting feud I've seen going into this show. I don't care who wins, but I'm going to go with Braun Strowman to win. The Raw Tag Team Championships are on the line as the New Day defend against AJ Styles and Omos. I'm going to go with AJ Styles and Omos to win. Here's the thing though. Omos, this will be his first documented match in WWE. Him winning the Tag Team Championships on night 1 is a big endorsement, but the guy is 7'4". I'm not surprised that they're going to put the championship on him that fast. How he will do in the ring will be very telling though, because this is a very tall guy. Very tall guys tend to not be super agile. But once again, haven't seen wrestle. Now, Almost, I think, is super young, right? Almost. Almost is 27. Now, mind you, when Big Show and Great Khali started getting their pushes, they were in their late 30s, close to 40 years old. Big Show really was 40 for a lot of his, push in the last 10 years. Almost is in his late 20s. He probably is at his physical prime. I don't see Omos doing fucking suicide dives and shit, but I would expect he can do more than what, say, a Big Show can do, or a Great Khali can do. If he even slightly is good enough, then it will warrant him maybe getting a championship match this soon. In any other case, he shouldn't be winning the championship on night 1. But I definitely see it happening. AJ Styles and Omos will be the new tag team champions. Now, originally, this was set to be Bad Bunny versus The Miz, but on the recent episode of Monday Night Raw, it has now been set to be Bad Bunny and Damian Priest versus The Miz and John Morrison. Not gonna lie, I was a little bit more excited for the singles match because I want to see how Bad Bunny does in the ring by himself. But Damian Priest definitely deserves a spot on this match, on this card, as well as John Morrison. So, we're getting this match. Bad Bunny and Damian Priest wins. That's the obvious choice. Who gets the pin? I'm going to say Damian Priest pins The Miz. And you could say, oh, Damian Priest pinned the former WWE champion, and maybe that might set him up against either Drew or Bobby. Here's where we get into the very, very, very debatable part. Because I did a video 2 weeks ago about who I think should be main eventing WrestleMania 37. And I said Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre should main event night 1, and Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair should open night 1. Now, I've been taken to task for the idea that Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair should be the main event because Bianca Belair won the Royal Rumble. And the Royal Rumble winner should be in the main event of WrestleMania. Now, here's the only thing about that debate. In the last, 10 to 15 years, the WrestleMania winner, the Royal Rumble winner, has not always gone to the main event. There's so many matches you could think of over the last few years that did not main event WrestleMania where the winner was involved in some capacity in the opening match or somewhere in the middle. So no, I don't necessarily believe Sasha Bianca should main event this show. However, if they want to go with 2 Royal Rumble winners main event WrestleMania, this is the only time they have to do it. This is the only time, because I don't think they're going to be doing 2-night WrestleManias following this show. This is the only time they can do 2 WrestleMania winners main eventing both shows. So if this is what they want to do, I am not disappointed. I'm not mad. Because some people were like, act like I was going to be pissed at it. Guys, I'm not mad if Sasha and Bianca main event the show. I think they're both supremely talented. I'm fans of both of them. More Bianca than Sasha. I'm fans of both of them. I'm supported by Melanin and Queens. I'm not mad at their main event. I just feel like they should be opening the show. Because the most important match of the show, believe it or not, is the opening match. The crowd will be hot and on fire for the opening match of the show. But listen. If they main event, gang ho. If they don't main event, gang ho still. Let's just imagine that they're the main event. Co-main event of the evening, at the opening match of the evening at that point, should be Bobby Lashley defending the WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre. Here's the thing. Bobby Lashley has been a beast. He's been built up very, very strongly. They just broke up the Hurt Business recently. Don't know why they did it. Then they tried to associate Baron Corbin with Bobby Lashley. Don't know why they did it. Drew McIntyre. He's been the WWE champion for about a year before losing the championship to The Miz, who lost to Bobby Lashley. He did not get his WrestleMania. He got a WrestleMania moment last year, but he did not get it in front of a crowd. Should he get it in front of a crowd? Absolutely. He shouldn't be stripped of his WrestleMania moment. Is he warranted for one? Yes. Is he deserving of one? Yes. Has he earned one? Yes. Does he necessarily need one? Not really. But I believe that if they're going with that story of Drew hasn't gotten his moment and he's primed to get it now, then yes, Drew should be beating Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania. And then they could have a 18-month-long feud where Drew and Bobby trade the title like they probably will do after this. And then the main event, we'll just say it is Sasha Banks defending the Smackdown Women's Championship against Bianca Belair. It's going to be amazing. And Bianca Belair will beat Sasha Banks to become the new SmackDown Women's Champion. I can't wait for that moment. And then night 2 of WrestleMania 37. We have Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler defending the championships, the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, against Naomi and Lana. I'll go for Naomi and Lana to win. If it's not Naomi and Lana, then Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax retain. We have Riddle, defending the U.S. Championship against Sheamus. I don't really care, but I'll go for Riddle to retain. We have Big E defending his Intercontinental Championship against Apollo Crews in a Nigerian drum fight. I don't know what that is. I'm going to assume it's a variation of a street fight. It should be cool. Should be fun. Apollo Crews has lost to Big E in like every championship match they had so far. If Apollo Crews loses again, you might as well just write the man off. Because I don't know what you're doing with it at that point. Apollo Crews needs to win. And I usually don't like when fans say, oh, this needs to happen, this needs to happen, this needs to happen. But I'm going to say here, Apollo Crews needs to win this match. If they don't have Apollo Crews win, why did you have him lose to Big E 4 to 5 times in a row? That's what I'll leave you with. We have Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have had a humongous storied rivalry going beyond WWE. In WWE, they've had several matches. I go back to Battleground 2016 as one of the best matches they've ever had. One of the best matches WWE's ever had, honestly. Will the match this year be as good? It probably will. I mean, they're going to pull out all the stops for WrestleMania in front of a crowd. I almost assume WrestleMania is that time where I feel like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are going to pull it out. Because think about it. WrestleMania 32 was 5 years ago. And that was the first time these two met in the ring at a WrestleMania. 2 years after that, they teamed up to go up against Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon. So this is going to be their third WrestleMania match associated with each other. I see Sami Zayn winning this match. And because of an interference from Logan Paul. That's what I'll go with. And Logan Paul will likely take a stunner too. The Fiend, Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton. This is not going to be a Firefly Funhouse match because they haven't announced it as one yet, and it's a Raw feud. So I'd imagine if it were the case, they would have announced it by now. But it's a regular singles match, so hopefully it's tolerable because Bray Wyatt is not the best wrestler in the world, and Randy Orton is the most charismatic either. So I don't know how this is going to work out, but The Fiend wins. We have the Raw Women's Champion, Asuka, defending the championship against Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley came in and basically said, I want to face you, and Asuka said yes. That's basically the build-up for this match. Rhea Ripley should win the championship. Now, Rhea Ripley hasn't really done much to warrant winning the championship, but if there's anybody on the entire women's roster that I believe can carry the division that is Raw's women's division, aside from Asuka, it's Rhea Ripley. So Rhea Ripley defeats Asuka. Also, that's a new and different match that I would have loved to see in NXT. So I'm actually excited for that too. Then the main event of WrestleMania Night 2, Roman Reigns defends the Universal Championship against Edge and Daniel Bryan in a triple threat match. Here's the thing about this match. So Edge is somewhat kind of sort of now a heel. I like that he's in that heel persona, the radar superstar persona. Daniel Bryan got inserted into this match. I don't know why. I really don't understand why he needed to be inserted into this match. But he's in the match now. I think he's in the match to take the pin. Now, from the build-up I've seen, they've done it very well. Like, this is the best built match on both nights of WrestleMania. They've built it up very well. Any guy can win. But I think Daniel Bryan is inserted to take the pin. So that way, neither Edge nor Roman have to get pinned. Necessarily. Now, who gets the win? Is it Edge finally getting his moment at WrestleMania? Mind you, he won the Royal Rumble, so it makes sense for him to win this match. Or does Roman Reigns retain? Now, I said when Edge won the Rumble that he shouldn't necessarily be beating Roman Reigns. We're now 2 months out and Daniel Bryan is in the match. Edge pinning Daniel Bryan makes sense given that Daniel Bryan inserted himself into the match. Basically all but inserted himself into the match. Trying to steal Edge's moment away from him. This is the same Edge who was out with neck injury for 9 years and made his return. Daniel Bryan comes into the picture. The same Daniel Bryan that was in the same position that Edge was in. The same position. And this is why I like the fact that Daniel Bryan is kind of inserted to this match now. Is that Edge and Daniel Bryan have their own little story that Roman Reigns really doesn't need to be involved in. Edge earned the way into the match. The same way Daniel Bryan earned his way. Not the same way, but similar way Daniel Bryan earned his way into his match at WrestleMania 30. Except now, Daniel Bryan really did not earn the way into the match. Edge earned it, Daniel Bryan didn't. So, Daniel Bryan, in my opinion, is not really the babyface in this match. He's not the heel, obviously, because nobody's going to boo him. But I don't really think he's the hero that people are portraying him to be. Not by the way he was inserted into it, he isn't. Roman Reigns is the true heel here. Edge is not really a heel in my opinion. Because Edge has every right to not want Daniel Bryan to be in the match. He has every right to be pissed at Daniel Bryan for being inserted into the match. He has every reason to hate the Roman Reigns. So Edge, in my opinion, is just a misunderstood babyface. Edge could win at this point, and I wouldn't be too mad. Only because Daniel Bryan is inserted into the match. Daniel Bryan could win. I wouldn't be highly upset, but I'd be like, I feel like you just kind of robbed both of a Roman Reigns Edge match. Roman Reigns could win and retain the championship. If I had to put my money down on one guy, I'm going to put my money down on Roman Reigns to retain the Universal Championship. But I think it's a three-way that either man could win. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my prediction for WrestleMania 37. What do you guys think? Comment down below. Let your boy know. I love you guys as always. And I will see you all next Wednesday when I come back from Florida for episode 42 of the Chillsville Podcast. Peace out, guys.